we actually stayed for, I think, was it 6 years, 5 years without clients, without a paying client. So what we did, we were doing a lot of in-house productions.
Okay.
And we were very gracious that we had the resources to pull through those six years or 5 years thereabout. So we just decided, okay, we are here, we are starting this thing. And back then, people knew nothing about animation, like it was zero.
Welcome back to the Creative Collab. This is our second season, episode 3. Make sure you check out episode 1 and episode 2. We had amazing conversations with Kevin Obilo around the leadership in creative industries, and with Brian Mawira. We had a conversation with him about his creative journey as an art director and music producer. So yeah, if you're keen to learn more about that, check out our previous conversations. This is our third episode. I am excited to have this conversation because we're going to have a conversation around the animation industry, financial literacy, collaboration. There's a lot to uncover within this episode. So we are joined by the one and only, none other than Ernest Livasia. Yes. So Ernest is he is an animator, graphic designer, everything within that spectrum. He's also the general manager of Chomoka Studios. What is it? Vice secretary.
No, actually, I've just been elected as a secretary of the Association of Animators Kenya. We had an election the other week.
Oh, okay.
This month of March. Actually, the first week of March.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's yet to be out, but yeah, we are in the process of finalizing it. So I'm outgoing vice secretary, and I'm getting into the secretariat position.
That's nice. That's nice.
Thank
Congrats.
you. Asante.
And you were a jury.
Yeah, I was a jury of the Kalasha for the year 2021, 2022. Yeah, for 2 years I served as a jury member of the Kalasha.
Oh, okay. And you've been mentoring people as well, younger creatives.
Yeah, both young and old. I share the knowledge. And I do actually mentor. Mostly I'm curious in mentoring the young because they might not have learned what the old have learned, but I do mentor them.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
So maybe we can start by how you got into the industry. Was that after high school, or how did you become an animator?
My story for the passion for creatives began way back. I'd say when I was a kid, I loved to create a lot of things. Yeah, okay. I'm that kind of kids. I don't know if the younger viewers know this, but we used to have battery torches and stuff like that. So I could take those batteries from my dad's torches and, try just to create something creative with it, like join wires and stuff. So I wanted to create things. Basically, I was seeing myself as an engineer or something to do with sciences. But then when I joined high school, now things change. That's when you start to realize there's so much mathematics to do, and you have to really keep up with the sciences. So one day I came across a brochure on a newspaper talking about animation and creativity. Though I'd not had a passion for becoming an animator, because I knew cartoons then was drawing, and this is something that I don't know what to do. So, but I got interested because it was all about computers, creating stuff in computers, and this was way back in 2007, not 2007 really, 2005. I guess that's when I came across this brochure, and I said, okay, I want to do this animation. I don't know what it is, but I want to do it. So back then the internet was super bad, super bad. But my dad was fortunate to work in this telecommunication company that had internet. So I told him I need to learn more about this school. So the school was NIT. Nairobi Institute of Technology. They had a website. So you know what my dad did? He went and downloaded the pages of NIT, printed them, and then brought them to me. So I went through those pages every day. I actually filed them. So just reading about animation. And then the passion now grew to become an animator. So straight after high school, even when I was doing my, what is it called? My end year Form 4 living, exams, KCSE, I knew I wanted to be an animator.
Okay.
So when I came to Nairobi, I came to look at various schools. And I landed into one, and here I am.
Which school did you go to?
I actually ended up in Shangtao. But I went to teach to NIT at some point. So it was like a coming home for me at the end of the day.
So you joined Shangtao in which year?
Shangtao, I joined it in, I feel like I'm very, very old. Bridget, it's about, I think, 2008, 2009.
Shangtao was existing?
Shangtao was existing back then. It's a very, very old institution. I think it was among the few institutions that were teaching animation back then. Yes.
Hey, interesting story.
Yeah.
The thing I've picked up is most creatives, they started being creative way back, even when they were kids. So do you think it's something you have to have within you, or you can pick it up even when you're grown up?
I think there is one perception that people look at, that creativity, you have to become a kid. I don't think that's a reality. I think the only people who continue being creatives are the people who remain kids. Because kids have a lot of freedom to create stuff. Like we'll sit down, like I've told you my example of taking batteries and just trying to join them in. I did not have anything to worry about. And then that's when creativity is bad. I think it's all about you keeping the inner child in you alive that will keep you moving forward. However, there are those who still have that inner child, but it was shut down by, let's say, I don't know, circumstances. They went to do medicine, they went to do engineering and stuff like that. And I think before we started, we were having a pep talk on what has been happening around. And I told you I teach. So sometimes I teach people who have gone to medical school and now they're in an animation school because maybe their inner child was reborn or rejuvenated and they want to become back to creative. Anyone can be a creative, anyone. It just depends with how fast you nurture that kid or you don't quiet that child inside you. Because
I've had conversations with people who took different courses and then later on they came to branch into animation or game development, graphic design. So they spent maybe 4 years doing something they don't love. Then later on they picked up something they loved. So maybe it's because I guess maybe at the time society wasn't open to animation or the creative industry. And that brings me to my next question. When you were picking up animation, that's way back. Like people weren't even familiar with animation ever sana. So when you were picking it up, did you have the idea in mind that this is going to become something huge or something that's going to maybe bring an income for you? What was your thinking when you picked up animation as a career?
When picking up on animation as a career, I like to say it was the one thing that sparked to me. I felt like this is something that I really want to continue doing. I had no game plan of when it's going to earn me money. What I wanted first to do is nurture the creativity bit of it. I never took it as something that I wanted to earn me money per se. What I looked at it is I wanted it to be something that progresses the reason why I exist, and I feel like the reason why I exist was to create stuff. Create solutions, look at a problem and create solutions. Like I want to move from point A to point B. That's creativity, like for you to move from one point to another. And then I just felt like maybe the realization of making money out of this was when I went to school and I realized that this thing is serious. I could just pursue it at the end of the day.
Okay, so you went to Shangtao, you did your course, then What did you do next?
What happened next? First of all, when in Shantao, I was just for the purpose of I want to do some animation. Okay, I want to be in this team. Call it the dream team. So when I got into Shantao, I realized that there were not so many studios. There were very few people practicing animation, and if they were practicing, it could take a longer time. So I was like, I want to be part of a team that does something. So interestingly enough, there's something that normally happens if you just put yourself in a certain position, things will unfold. You have just to work yourself up the ladder and let the rest of the things unfold. So this is what happened. Out of the blues, our founder, where I am now at Chomoka Studios as a GM, came by at school. And it happened that we were in the same class with a cousin of the founder, so a relative. So she was like, oh, my cousin wants to start an animation studio. Will you guys be interested? And we're just finishing our coursework. Okay. We're actually doing our project. And the entire project class, 12 of us, we went and met him for pizza. And we decided to open up Chomoka Studios. And 15 years down the line, it's now still there.
Yeah. Hey, that's amazing. Yeah. So what was your experience like being in Shantao? Did you learn enough to enable you to now, when you join Chomoka, did you have enough skills to?
I think when in Shantao, what really helped me, the skills that I learned, I felt like they were enough. Remember, my goal was to be part of a team. So I felt like whatever skills I've learned, because I started as a 3D modeler. So I said, okay, if I'm doing 3D, let me do it in a very best way possible. And then there will be someone to come and add something, another layer on top, maybe character animation and things like that. So the skills that we learned in Shantao, basically what really helped me shape my journey was the teamwork. Because they had this nice program, a 6-month program, where you're not learning, but doing a project as a team. It was a very good experience. So everybody was able to define their own strength. And even now when we were starting Chomoka Studios, everybody already knew, because they've been doing, let's say, 3D modeling for 6 months. You've perfected it. So by the time you're getting into the system of employment, you already know what basically you're able to do. Yeah, so it was a lot of teamwork, and actually that really grew into us.
So Shantao already built that collaborative mindset within you guys.
Yes.
And it was easier for you guys to work together because you've already worked together in school. You already know each other's strengths.
Yes.
So it was easier to just begin the work.
Exactly.
So when you joined Chomoka, you were providing solutions for clients, or what exactly were you doing?
Well, when we joined Chomoka Studios, there were no clients. If I can start from the middle history of Chomoka before I go to the beginning. So we actually stayed for, I think, was it 6 years, 5 years without clients, without a paying client. So what we did, we were doing a lot of in-house productions.
Okay.
And we were very gracious that we had the resources to pull through those six years or 5 years thereabout. So we just decided, okay, we are here, we are starting this thing. And back then, people knew nothing about animation, like it was zero. We were like in this space whereby there were only 2 or 3 studios. But again, if now the corporates want an animation done, they could go all the way to India or South Africa. So they never knew that these people existed. And remember back then, the softwares were hard to come by, machines and things like that. You could render something, it could take, these days people are here complaining, CGI 3 days, 4 days. Back then it could take a month or weeks. It could just, and you are doing one scene, a machine is running all through. So getting clients back then was hard. Until when we got to a point where we needed to define ourselves. Who are we? Which space are we in? How can we be known? Yeah, so that really helped us. But at the start, It was not like the way these days people just, get into a company and they already have clients knocking on their doors. Back then in 2010, it was quite a roller coaster.
And there's definitely a huge difference between that time and now.
Yes.
Because I'm assuming those years, was it 2H huko?
Which years?
When you joined Chomoka, when it
2010.
was 2010.
Yes.
So around that time, people took animation as an innovative industry because it was just coming up and people weren't familiar with it.
Yes.
And I believe most people, when they picked it up, they wanted to use it maybe for communication, marketing and all. Yeah. So what's the difference between then and now?
Actually, just a point of correction. Back then, if you're looking at the Kenyan market, people were looking at animation as a source of entertainment. Like in the Kenyan market, they knew animation as cartoons. And then they could relate to cartoons on a Saturday morning when kids could sit down and watch cartoons. So they never took it as a serious form of business to actually plug it into their businesses. So you could go and tell somebody cartoons, they could wonder, how will a cartoon help me sell my products and get into the, advertise my things. Back then, live action was the real deal. We had a lot of adverts and on live action as opposed to what we currently have as animation being used in the commercial space. So a trend started picking, and I really, if you're looking at the commercial space, I really, give a hats off to Fatboy. Fatboy animation really grew the commercial space, and he made our voices heard. And then also the agencies now realized that there were these studios that were coming up. So fast forwarding to this particular time, there's been a lot of uptake in animation thanks to the small strides that happened during that time. Back then it was not so much. And then also I'll attribute to the current wave of, there's a lot of consumption of animation, even in live action, live TV adverts, documentaries, there's still animation being utilized. I also think it's because there's been a lot of internet penetration in our country here in Kenya. So people have been exposed to different kind of mediums. So at the end of the day, you find that so many clients would want, hey, I need an animation. I saw an animation somewhere being used for educative purposes, for commercial purposes. Who can do it? And then they go and Google. When they Google, they're using internet. They're using data. And then they find, there is this studio, there is that particular studio. There's an individual who has posted something on social media. So there's been a lot of openness in how we are available as opposed to then. I'll say internet has really helped to make us known, and also the platforms that have become very innovative at the end of the day. So people are looking at animation not as an industry that is never there, but it's looking at it as a fast emerging industry in the current Kenyan space. And also we're looking at the region as well. Yes.
Now I really want to understand, because I'm really sure it was so difficult for you guys to push your animation skills and even the company itself, because very few people were familiar with animation. So how were you able to convince people to use animation as a tool? Or, okay, let me first start by where did you focus on when you were beginning? Was it the entertainment bit or the commercial side?
One thing about animation is that it's a very long game. Back then, it was a long game. So we decided to focus on production. Case in point, we were looking at ourselves as a production studio, like we could do stories for entertainment or education, or say edutainment. So we started focusing on that. Then there is the question of now convincing people. Now you can imagine you've stayed for 4 years, you've never sold an animation to anyone, and there were a lot of barriers to entry to just go commercialize your animation back then, unlike there is today. And so we had to become a little bit aggressive in making sure that people know that we are available. So at that particular point, when things were becoming now not so rosy in our side, we decided to do partnership.
Okay.
So we looked at motion graphics as a stepping stone, and we met different production studios that were doing actually film, and told them, hey, by the way, we can provide for you motion graphics as a value add to your videos. And that actually is what did the talking for us. So when we started doing motion graphics as a value add for their videos, their clients were like, this is different. You only see a lot of videos, but now you are actually breaking down each and every single concept for us in a very easy way through animation. And then there was a lot of uptake. So I guess that path of collaboration with, partnering with a studio and not fighting it, it really helped us. Unlike some other people will try to, they look as if they're competing with the other studio. They start to do the same things that they are. As we look at what do we have and what do they not have. These people already have the clients that we want to go for, so they could help us get to that particular level. So that's what really helped us do the talking.
Yeah. Okay, collaboration. Yeah, because I've seen some companies are not open to that.
Yes.
To maybe partnering with another company that offers services that they don't offer.
Yeah.
But coming together, you make it easier for you guys to provide the service.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. So you started as an animator.
Yes.
In Chomoka.
Yes, I did.
So how did you climb the ladder to becoming the general manager?
Oh, that has taken me way, way back. How I began. Just that you realize that whatever you learn in school is more of the hands-on creative bits. You only learn about how to do an animation, how to do keyframing. But now when we started becoming big, we realized that there is that aspect of there is a gap that needs to be addressed. So first and foremost, I began as a projects manager. So Chomoka Studios, by that time when we were now getting into commercial space, our numbers had shrunk from 13 to 3.
Shrinking from?
13 people or 12 people to 3 people. Because you can imagine that 6-year gap. There were not so many uptakes, so people had to do other things. Maybe someone gets another job, a family, and they need to move out to get into better incomes. So that's what happened. And now when we were 3 of us, not 3, actually 4, including me, I realized that there were gaps that need to be addressed. These are gaps to do with client relations. We were never taught that at school. And you cannot bring somebody from a different space, a private sector, to come and manage for you a client who you're trying to explain animation. So I had to learn the ropes of projects management. So when you get a client, I'm able to do some project management with them. So to become the bridge between the creative and the client. So be that voice, talk the voice. It's quite of like a two-way traffic. You're talking the language of the client, at the same time you're talking the language of the creatives. So that really helped me become a project manager. So I was a project manager for a few years, and then I realized that I need now to let that go and now become a general manager now, where I can oversee the entire running of the studio. So I have someone who now helps out on the production management while I just do the overseeing. And funny thing about becoming now a general manager of the animation studio, you stop doing a lot of animations. Yes, you do get to do those animations, and it does not deter you from doing long-term projects. There sometimes I do projects, but now when you have an overlap of projects, you now become that person who now calls other people to come in and do the productions as you give your prowess. So most of the time you'll find that I give the direction. We sit down with our creative directors, our art directors, and we sit down and come up with a way forward. And now then have the production done. But does not mean that my animation skills are gone. They're not. I can wake up in the middle of the night and do a 30 seconds or a 1 minute animation. By the morning, I'm done with it. So it's something that is still inbred and inborn with me. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So when you picked up project management and client relation, so what skills did you have to learn and how did you do that?
The important skill that I had to learn was communication. As creatives, you get to find a point whereby you know, creatives, we're introverts. We keep quiet.
True.
Someone calls you for an interview, you go, you don't speak up and stuff. So one thing that I really had to pick up from that was learning to communicate. And not just communicate, but also understanding the other person, what the other person is saying, and then communicate back to them. To know that you understand their problems and provide a communication that is geared towards a solution. Another thing that I picked up from that was learning to work with people and working with teams and bringing teams together. It's a very hard thing for you to bring another creative from somewhere else to bond and synergize with the rest of the crew that you've been working for 3 weeks, or 3 years or 5 years or something like that. So you have to learn how to convince these other people, by this guy is going to help us do this. And one thing that I learned how to do that was not bringing in somebody because you feel there is a gap, but also communicating to your team and asking them, hey, by the way, where do you feel like you are straining? Do you feel like if we bring someone to help you with storyboarding, things will be good? Then someone will be like, yeah, I think we need someone. Or can we test someone out and then we see if we can do synergize or create something. So those are the two skills that I felt I was lacking, and they really helped me, progress on projects. Yeah.
How long did that take you?
I don't know. I'm still learning, by the way.
Okay.
I'm still learning. It has not ended. It's a learning curve. There is no day that I've said, okay, I'm done doing, learning to communicate. It's something that you have to keep polishing. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, when you're working with clients,
yes,
I think we've steered away from the animation
that's
itself, but I want to focus on now the business side of animation.
Yes.
So how do you go about that? Say you onboard a client. How do you go about communicating with the client, getting to know exactly what they want, how to even quote your prices?
Okay.
Yeah, the whole thing, the whole pipeline.
The whole pipeline.
Yeah.
Oh, those are so many questions into one. But I'll answer it on the first one, which you said, how do you communicate with, how do you find a client and know what they want? Okay. So onboarding a client, most people will do it in a very conventional way. They'll get a call and then they are like, yes, we can do it. Let's begin. And then they start doing the work. So for us, or for me, how I do it is first finding out, does the client really need an animation?
Okay.
Someone might have come to you, they want an animation, but their problem is not even an animation. Probably their problem is on customer service. Maybe they're not making sales because they have poor customer service. Or they're not making sales because they're not visible on social media. So that could be a social media issue. Sometimes just important for you to sit down with a client. And I always tell the people that I mentor and people that I meet around, normally tell them, first find out if this client wants an animation. Ask them, why do you want this animation in the first place? Someone will say, hey, Bridget, it's because my competitor has created an animation advert and I also want one so that I can compete with him. You see, that's not a very good business strategy. You don't know why, the reason why the competitor created an advert. But you also, because your competitor once has done an advert, you also want to outshine them. And that becomes a problem because at the end of the day, you'll be throwing money down the drain. Yeah. So probably the first point of onboarding a client is finding why they really need that animation. So you might also find a way of, doing a segue out of their reason and help them find the real reason why they need that animation. Yeah. So it's not like you're telling the client, no, we don't do competitor stuff because you're competing, you don't want to be in your walls, no. Sometimes you can help them find a better reason why they need that animation. So it's just a matter of asking them questions. I normally call it, it's more like a kickoff meeting, having a kickoff meeting with them, just to do a little bit of soul searching. So it's like a one-on-one conversation. It's like your friend. You try to advise them. You don't need to go this way. How about this way? So you first become friends with the client even before you start the work. And now from that particular point, once you find out that this is their problem, you find out their pain points. A pain point can be something as simple as, I want to spend time with my family. That could be a reason why a client wants an animation.
How does that make sense?
How does that make sense? You look at it this way. You ask someone, okay, why do you want an animation? They say they're not making enough sales. And then you're like, why are you not making enough sales? I think that our products are not visible enough. And how is this affecting you? Well, I spend a lot of time in the office. Why do you spend a lot of time in the office? They're like, because I really need to push this product online. I'm trying to communicate, but it's not getting there. Why do you want not to spend enough time in the office? Because I need to spend time with my family. So the reason why they want that animation video is not to sell the product. That could be the core reason. But their personal reason is they want more time away from their business, the animation itself to do for them product, to push the product, while they're spending quality time with their family. So everything you do around that product won't just be around the customers themselves, but you're also looking at the what is it called? The reason why this customer wants also this video, the personal reason. So when you ask those questions, I normally do a why kind of scenario, and you've noticed that it's more like paraphrasing. The answer, I spend a lot of time in the office. And then you're like picking that, why do you spend a lot of time in the office? So it's more like a paraphrasing. And you realize they just need to spend time with their family. So even if you're building this project, you'll be like, I feel like we're taking a lot of time on this. It's actually deterring you from spending time from your family. Can we go back to the basics?
Interesting. Yeah, I've worked within agencies.
Yes.
And when we onboard a client, we don't really get to understand why exactly they want something. That's an interesting take. I'll put that into consideration the next time we get a new client.
You can take that tip. It's an open tip. It's out there, by the way. Yeah. So they normally just say, do ask 5 whys. You will get to the bottom line of why I think people need that. Yeah,
because maybe even at the end of the day, you'll find out they probably don't even need the animation.
They don't need it. They don't need it. They're putting money down the drain.
Yeah. Wow, interesting take. Now, the financial bit.
Yes. How do we cut?
Yes.
Now, what I normally advise people is burn your red cards. That's something that I normally do.
Because it's fixed.
It's fixed. So we don't have a red card. We don't have a red card. And even me, I don't have a red card. My quotes or my pricing will come at the point of need. Probably I am doing another project, but I really want to help you out. So I look at what resources will I require to ensure that your project sails through. So we normally price work, or I would also normally price work based on the current time. I don't say, hey, doing for you a motion graphic video will be 10,000 shillings, this quality. per second, or 5,000 or 2,000 shillings per second. What if that client needs that video in 3 weeks? That means you need to hire more people. You need maybe more licenses. You need a faster machine to render and things like that. And that's what the people normally don't see, those hidden costs. So at the end of the day is I normally do an evaluation, a soul searching around my realm and say, okay, this is what is lacking in this particular space. Okay, I'll need a voice actor. Now, before even I do the quotation, I ask what kind of voice actor. Will it have voice?
Okay.
So it will have voice narration. What kind of voice actor are you looking for? I'm looking for someone from the UK. You see, how you pay someone from the UK, there are so many things. There are transaction cost in the middle. There is looking for that particular actual person from the UK. Maybe you'll go to an online site or you'll make contacts there. That is a lot of time to look for that particular person. And even in Kenya, they will say, I'm looking for this particular Kenyan who can speak this way and this way. You see, that's a lot of time. So you have to find first what the client needs and then package it to now a cost. And it's never wrong. Whether it's never wrong for you to say, hey, I don't have an answer for the cost yet. Do you mind giving me a day? I'll come back with a number.
Okay.
Because I want to make something that fits within your needs. Don't rush to give a number before you know the exact needs of that client. The entire scope. I normally say, understand the scope, know everything. Are there subtitles? Are there translations? Are there things like that? Because now you'll start getting, when you agree with the client, then the client might come in and say, hey, add XYZ. And then you are thrown off balance because you don't know what they really needed in the first place. So for costing, work with the current numbers, the current trends. And if you don't have someone, let's say you need a storyboarder and you don't have a storyboarder and you don't have the answer for that particular bit. This is the point where you can say, hey, I need 1 or 2 days. And then you can go through your circles and ask, hey, can you do storyboarding? You'll find there's someone who can do storyboarding. Or there's a client who need a 2-minute storyboard. How much will you charge for me this? Then you have now a range to work with.
Okay.
I hope I've answered that question the best I can.
You have.
Yes. You were expecting a number?
No, not really. Because it's something I was struggling with when I was starting up. That is back in the time I was starting up. Yeah, so I wasn't really sure how to quote my services. And the way you said, you're supposed to maybe ask the client to give you a day or two. I used to just think of a number and then I give
Whether
them.
it's never, giving a price is never an emergency. It's not. Don't treat it as one.
No, it's because maybe when you're starting up, you really need those clients and you don't want to lose them. So you feel like you're obligated to give them a number so that you don't lose them.
But let me ask a question. Were they there before they called you, a minute before they called you?
They weren't
No,
there.
they were not. They'll still be there after that call.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. So how do you do it these days?
I actually tell them to give me a day or two because so I look at what exactly they want, how long it's going to take me, then I give them the price.
That's a good strategy. And most people don't know that there are clients who are price shoppers. So you waste a lot of time writing a quotation, and there are those clients who already know what they need. They come up with a brief and they give it to you. So also figuring out the kind of client who has made that call can really help you, make a decision if you really want to spend time interrogating this client or moving forward to the next client and wait for the next client, because there is a lot of time wastage there as well. Yeah, I
also came to learn that not all clients are your clients. It's okay to lose them.
Yeah, it's good. It's okay to lose them because there's one of the mentors that I normally watch normally says, you can't lose what you did not have. you'll never feel bad of losing something that you never had in the first place. If you don't have it last minute, and then it happens that it has not come your way, you've not had it, so never feel bad.
And how important will you say financial literacy is for people within the creative industry?
When it talks about financial literacy, that is a very good question. But before we go to that, there's just one thing I need to add about the client bit, if you don't mind.
Okay.
As I think about the financial literacy importance. When you look at clients, one question you need to ask yourself after that call, can you afford to keep the client, or can you afford to lose the client? Before even you decide, okay, I'll feel bad if I've lost this client. So that's a very big question. Needs to be in your mind, like, can I afford to keep him around, like, or her? Or can I afford to lose them? What's at stake?
Okay.
And then how can I convince to have them on board? Or how can I convince them to go somewhere else in a kind way? All right. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
okay.
that's the small addition that I thought I could add on that. Sorry, I segued from your question. If you have anything to add to that?
No, not really. I'll just keep it in mind.
Okay, yeah. Keep that in mind. So that's the question. Even when you're dealing with clients, there's a point when you want to let go that client in order to move to a different realm. You can always ask yourself that question. How expensive is it for me to keep this client around? Maybe they're paying you this amount of money that is not making sense. The economy has changed, and maybe your team has grown, and it's too super expensive to keep that client around. Or if you can afford to keep them around, maybe they're bringing you 2 jobs in a year, and those jobs actually take care of all your problems for 2 years. Now that's a client that you can afford to keep around.
Okay.
All right. Now, if can you afford to lose them? That's another question. How much? What's your relationship with them? They could be giving you enough money, but your mental state working with them is quite not okay. So can you afford to lose them? If your mental state of your team, like you're working Monday to Sunday, you're in the office, pushing clients' work, they're putting a lot of orders down your throat. But at the same time, they're paying you well.
Yeah.
So those are the biggest questions that people should interrogate themselves. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, when the client pays, financial literacy, another important point. Most creatives, we get to a point where we get that big bang. We don't know when it happens, but it does happen. Yesterday I was telling my wife a story of how I landed on the first big bang while I was still in college and squandered the money within a month. Within a month.
Because you weren't ready for it? Or?
I was ready for the money. But again, when the money came, I did not have any knowledge of where to take that money, how to spend that money, how to use that money. I say financial literacy is when you know how to treat money. That's all. That's the bottom line about financial literacy. Because money is a servant, and at the same point, money can be a boss.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it can serve you, or it can be that bad boss, whereby it pushes you to these pits that you can never recover from. So you have to figure out, what do you want your money to be? Do you want it to be a boss, whereby you work for it hard and then it disappears and then you work for it again and again? Or do you want it to serve you for your better, for a better future? So I feel like creatives, as much as it's a conversation that people feel it's for economists or people who are doing accounting or even bankers. Even for creatives, it's important for them to have some form of financial literacy. Know how money works. Know when to take a deal and when not to take a deal. And then also plan for that money. Don't have a big boom on, let's say you have a big boom and you don't know the plan that you're going to have for it. For instance, let's say you're going to get a certain amount, have a discipline behind the curtains. For example, you can say a certain percentage will go to this, a certain percentage will go to this. Not taking the entire amount and just blowing it up. But again, knowing where are you taking that money and what is it going to happen, work, how is it going to work for you. So financial literacy, actually what normally forces so many people to be financial literate, and not just creatives, is when they get themselves into those unwinding roads.
Yeah, true.
But it's an important thing.
How did you get to learn this?
I think I got to learn this a hard way. When you grow old, I've been in the industry for over 15 years. When you grow old, this money comes. It comes super fast, and before you know it, it's already gone. And then you're in these vicious, like let's say a debt cycle. You never get out of it, or you are in these vicious spending habits. You're the in-depth of that, overspending or being over-expressive with money. So there's this time when I just sat down and said, hey, Ernest, where is your money going? I looked at my M-Pesa statement one day, just went and downloaded it. Actually, that day they were sending you every year, yeah? And it coincided with my bank statement. So it was December, and I just sat down and looked at them, M-Pesa, and I looked at the zeros. Wow, that was super, super annoying. Then I look at my bank statement and I'm like, where is this money? And then I started just to say, hey, I never knew where I'm spending my money on. I can see only, it's a line, there's something called debit and credit. Credit is when money comes in, and then debit is when money goes out. So if you ever look at your statements, that's how they normally look. So most people, you'll find they have this debit, which is a very long list, and then credit. So debit, credit, debit, credit. So your financial, your money goes out more than it comes in. But again, it could be going out, but doing something else. So that's where I need this money to come out. Yes, from my credit, the one that I've gotten. But when it goes out, I need it to make some interest for me. And then that's when I looked at savings, planning. You get money from a project, you plan and say, hey, next time we are getting some loose 300K or 400K, how about we get machines? Or next time I get an extra 100K, how about I get myself a powerful laptop? Because when now you don't take care of your future, opportunities do come and you miss them. Someone will come, hey, can you fly to South Africa? We have a rotoscoping event, or we have a 2D animation studio that wants to bring you on board, and you never bothered to get a passport. But then you took the 5,000 shillings for the passport, or 7,000 shillings, you went to Naivasha, squandered it. And you're a very good creative. So when somebody calls you, hey, we have a ticket for you, can you come to South Africa, or come to Morocco, or come to India? We want you for 2 weeks. You have nothing. Then you're like, or you go somewhere, you have an opportunity, you have no machines and stuff like that. So that's how investing back to self is. And that's financial literacy. Now you stop squandering money on things that are guilt pressures, but you actually put your money somewhere. And then also learning where this money is growing, putting your money where money is growing. And so many creatives, maybe they may not have this knowledge. Putting your money in the bank might get you money, but depends on the particular kind of saving scheme you are in. Or you can look at different investment vehicles.
Yeah.
I just came to learn about them the other day. It's about 2 years in.
Okay.
Looking at the markets. You can buy bonds, you can buy money market funds and stuff like that. Put your money there. So that by 2 years, your money has grown some sort of interest.
Yeah.
And you lock it there and you say, by then in the next 2 years, I want to pay for my PhD or my degree and things like that. And you'll now have the money.
Interesting, because I can relate to a few things you've mentioned.
Yes.
I was smiling when you're talking, because you mentioned something to do with planning your money and being prepared for upcoming events.
Yes.
So I was having a call with another creative. We're collaborating on something, and he told me just be prepared in case this creative collab blows up.
Yeah.
Just be ready, because if you're not prepared, opportunities might bypass you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there's that, and then just always be prepared and know where your money is going. So I also learned about savings, MMFs and circles, and also investing in a few other things like other businesses. Yeah, so you have multiple income streams, not just depending on one thing. Yeah, because COVID taught us the hard way.
Exactly.
So you have to have a couple of income streams, not just one. Let's talk about collaboration.
Okay.
So you've worked within Chomoka for, is it more than 10 years now?
14 years and counting.
14, okay. Yeah, so you've definitely worked with a couple of people, some coming in, others coming out. So how is that cycle where you have to collaborate with each other? People are different, so you have to accommodate everyone the way they are. How do you go about that?
How we go about collaboration is you have to understand the other person, where they're coming from and what they're bringing on the table. That's the most important bit that we normally focus on. If someone is coming in as a storyboard artist, you don't look that person as, let's say for example, I've been in the industry for a while, and then you get this storyboarder who's just been in the industry for 3 years. And they are different, how they do things. Maybe they have different cultures or beliefs and stuff like that. When this person comes in, you look them as a department. Look at them as a department, or a head of a department, or who belong to a certain department. So for you to ensure that collaboration is more synergized, and there is a lot of, people are actually correlating very well, is you respect that person's, the docket. And then allow them to be creative and express themselves. So when you provide them, you just, let's say, for example, you're collaborating with someone and they need to do for you storyboards. Don't show them how to draw the storyboards. Just provide them the idea. Hey, I have this idea. If you can't give them in speech or talking or orally, you can just type. And then tell them, hey, can you transform this into a storyboard in the best way you can? And then let them just flow. So the more you have that, and then the more you have that, the more expressive you leave your collaborators to actually be expressive, they'll actually provide a lot of ideas. And then when this other person needs another thing, they'll actually go to them and say, hey, by the way, I need you to do for me these hand shapes. I don't know how you're going to do them, but I want this hand shape, and this hand shape. Work with this style, and then let them do it. Okay. So it's more of like, I'd say, looking at the other side as a department and as a specialist, the person that you're bringing in. You're looking at them not just as a whole department, because a department is a cog on itself, but also you look at the people within that department as specialists.
Okay.
So you guide them, but they advise you on the best way possible.
Yeah, that's a great direction. Now, when you're mentoring people, what's one key thing that you try to infuse within them?
One key thing that I try to infuse within them is finding your why.
Okay, that's deep.
That's normally my first thing. When I'm mentoring somebody, I'm like, what is your why, Bridget? What is your why? So, and there are some people who have never gotten back to me. I don't rush someone to tell me their why right now.
That's a difficult question.
It's a very difficult question. I normally there is one that approached me. They wanted to learn animation. And I told them, what's your why? If you don't have an answer right now, go think about it.
Most people say they're passionate about it. Is that an answer?
No, passionate is the how, is the what.
Okay.
Yeah. So a simple why, if I may say. So do you have a why?
I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, you have to think about it.
Yeah.
So in mentoring people, that one word that I normally tell people is, what's your why? There is a book that I read. I also read books. I read books. Just of late, I've started listening to podcasts. So the thing that I know, there's a book that I read is called Starting with Why.
Okay.
By a very great author called Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek wrote this book many years ago. It's one of the bestsellers books. Most people start with what? What do you want to be when you grow up? You remember that question when you were kids?
Yeah.
Someone says, a doctor, an engineer, an animator. What will you do about it? I'll go to school. That is the how. And then when they get to school, a medical school, they realize that mathematics is very hard, sciences are hard. And then they start asking, why am I a doctor? Flip the coin the other way. Start with why. Why do I want to be an animator? Why do I want to be a creative? So I share similarly the same why with Chomoka Studios, because we helped it, develop it. Our why is normally to provide creative solutions that contribute towards making the world a better place. You can never make the world better, but you can contribute towards making the world a better place. So whatever creative solutions we provide, I've not said animations. I've said creative solutions. Not services. Solutions. It has to be it has to be a solution at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay.
It has to contribute towards making the world a better place.
Okay.
So here is an example. Say we do a video about taxes. Taxes is a very huge topic right now in Kenya. But the video itself convinces people the importance of paying taxes. And people actually see the need of paying taxes. An individual somewhere watches that animation and they are compelled to start filing returns and paying taxes. What happens? That money, because people have paid that and the government put it into use, a hospital is built somewhere in Lokichar, or Lokichogio, or somewhere there in the Bundus. And a woman does not die giving birth at home.
Wow, okay.
Thanks to the video that you created. And the kid manages to go to a school that was built thanks to the taxes that people were convinced to pay. So that's contributing towards a better place. Even if that money that he paid was actually used to buy, 3 paracetamols and someone took them and they were not sick. Or a pothole was filled somewhere. That is contributing towards making the world a better place. Now that's the why. A why someone cannot take it away from you. I can still go somewhere and do consultancy for them without even creating an animation. But the consultancy that I'll do for them is it contributing towards making the world a better place? Will you sleep easy when that animation is on the airwaves. The moment when upload is pressed and it goes live. Will you sleep easy because you've made money, or because that video is already making an impact? Somebody's watching it and they feel entertained. They feel less stressed. They feel more educated or more empowered. So that's the thing that I look at. So I normally ask my the mentees, what's your why? The how is doing the animation. The what is a video. And if I go back to my question on client relations and engagement, is asking them why.
That's really
So it
interesting.
connects the dots.
I love that. Then I have niko na homework ya kufanya.
Yeah, you have a homework. Don't worry. Don't worry. It does not necessarily need to answer tomorrow, but you can do it. Yeah.
But I think to answer that, you have to go really deep within yourself and think about yourself, and it's wow. It makes you realize more about yourself also.
Yeah, that's true.
But once you come up with the why, you have to live to it.
You have to live to it. It's a principle. You can turn down a job because it does not
it does not
align with your why. Somebody has come to ask you to do a certain video that you feel it does not contribute towards making the world a better place, and you'll feel stressed doing it. So you just say, I can't do it because of my principles.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. I've learned so much. Let's talk about A3K.
Yeah.
There's a WhatsApp group. There are a lot of people. People keep joining every day.
Yeah.
But I believe not everyone knows what A3K is.
Okay.
Yeah. So could you maybe give us a brief description of what A3K is?
Now, A3K, as Bridget mentioned, is an acronym.
Yeah.
It stands for Association of Animators Artists Kenya.
Yes.
That's why there are 3 A's. A3K, triple AK. So it's supposed to be an association. First of all, we are a registered association. The same way we have an association of medical doctors, of lawyers, of judges and stuff. We also registered association. So the role of the A3K here is to represent animators and artists.
Okay.
That's why there is animators and artists. We're not just looking at animators, artists, to represent them in the entire scope of the current creative economy in Kenya and also in the region. So representation in what way? By ensuring that if there is need for us to speak on your behalf to, let's say, government policies that are coming up, looking for funding, seeking legal protection, legal redress, things like that. Those are the things that we do, like, mainly. Okay. Let's say you want some sort of progression in your career as an animator. That's where the association comes in. And how does it come in? There is a community of animators. Apart from this community of animators, there are actually people that you can find who can actually mentor you and educate you on things to do with animation, and also to progress.
Okay.
So it does a lot of functionalities. So we, apart from those representation, legal representation, and ensuring that you are heard by the government, we help your voice being heard by the government in terms of policies. We also do a lot of collaborations with non-animation bodies. Like we have NGOs, we have like Kenya Film Commission, for example. It's a government parastatal. So
And the copyright board as well.
Isn't the copyright boards as well? Yeah. So if there needs to be any assistance, any clinics or something like that, even KRA. Last year I think we did a clinic with KRA. So in the year 2023, the one that has just lapsed. So we go to those lines of seeking partnership so that the community can benefit. So the association, me being part of the office, we help do that. And most important thing that we are trying also to do is ensure there is money in the pockets of animators.
Okay.
But by getting more collaborative ventures from within Kenya and outside Kenya, and ensuring that people can actually know that we exist, going directly to the market and say, hey, we have a community of 300 or 500 animators in Kenya. How about you come and we get something done? Or we have a community of 300 or 500 artists who do several things. Can you come to Kenya and do something? So those are the things that we are looking at. But again, there's a lot of turning wheels within the association itself. Me being in the office, there's a lot of turning wheels. So it's not just the name itself, the WhatsApp group, as you've mentioned. It's also huge because there is a membership side. There's a lot of noise on these, not noise, good noise, creative noise on the WhatsApp registered members. Last time I checked, I think we have over 300 artists. But again, now we have a registered members group. Most people normally feel like if they're on the WhatsApp group, they're already registered members. But again, what we normally ask is to help us move forward and progress as an association. Normally request people to join the Association of Animators Kenya as members, so that they are known even in the government registry that you are part of the Association of Animators Artists, A3K. Case in point, there are people who normally go to Kenya Film Commission. They want support, and they're animators. They're normally sent back to the office. And sometimes if you're not a member, it becomes very hard. Yeah, it becomes very hard. So now that's why it's normally important. Like these bodies, they know that A3K exists. So if you ever go to them, they'll send you back to A3K. And who will you go to? You'll go to the office. And now it becomes now another journey. So we normally request people, okay, hi, could you please take part into becoming a membership? It's just 1 year membership that we normally look annually. Yeah.
So the benefits, the only benefits are you're able to be represented and you get opportunities easier.
Yes, you get opportunities easily. You get to be represented your voice. Yeah. No, they're not only the only, like we had an election the other day, only members voted. Who will be their chair, who will be their vice chair. If we have policies that are being discussed on the government level, sometimes only members will participate. Or you could be called and say, hey, because these governments, these corporate bodies and government levels will always reach to us. And then we'll say, hey, we are sending our members. So you as a member, you also get to raise your voice within that. And if there are partnerships, there are events, you can also get, straight tickets to there. And actually, last year, there were people who have flown to France. There are people who have been taken to South Africa, members. There are people who have gone to NSC Film Festival. There are people who have gone to Durban Animation Film Festival. So ZIF, there's one that is called ZIF. It's happening here in Zanzibar. There are people who normally are taken there. And those are opportunities that, you could miss on. You never know if you go to such a festival who you are going to meet, the opportunities that are there.
Oh, okay, interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, it happens. So there's a lot of things that happen behind the curtains of the memberships. Yeah.
All right, interesting. People know that now.
Yeah.
So if you wish to be represented within the animation industry and the creative industry in general. Yes,
creative industry. By the way, we are broadening the net so that it's not just animators, but we're looking for any creative.
Okay, interesting. I've learned that. Now I want to know your perspective on the growth of the creative industry, because there's been so much growth since you started and now, and there's a couple of developments as well. So where would you place the animation industry or even the creative industry maybe 5 years down the line?
5 years down the line, I see there could be or there might not be growth. I won't answer that question as I'm going to provide hope. What matters is what we'll do today.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what would push us or keep us at this particular point. So I would like to say one thing, and we need to break off. We still have a lot of silos. I have to be candid with people. We have a lot of silos in our animation industry. We like to not bring opportunities home. And I'm an avid communicator, and I'm an avid advocate of collaboration. The only way we can be somewhere in 5 years from now if we collaborate.
Yeah.
If people stopped to do things on their own and collaborate, take part in workshops, teach other people, train them.
Yeah.
There are people who cannot afford school. Be part of mentoring them. Hold a mentee's hand. So what matters where we will be 5 years from now? The industry is growing. The industry does not stop growing.
Yeah.
And during COVID, our industry grew. Why? Because everybody was coming to the animation as a first resort, not even as a last resort as they used to do.
Yeah.
And that spurred a lot of growth economically in the creative sector for the animators. However, if we want to now progress, we need to break away from the silos that we have created, both in the education sector, both in the creative sector, people who are practicing the freelance. You get a job for freelancing. Let's say it's particles. You need to do particles. You've seen someone who knows how to do particles, but you're there struggling with a tutorial of YouTube. While you can just say, hey, I'm looking for a particle simulator. Let's do this, man. Even if you're going to lose some 10,000 or 5,000 or whatever amount, 100K, let that guy get some work. And then that's how you're going to create synergy. So mine is on the collaboration. We need to see more of collaboration. They are actually happening as we speak, but we need to see more. We need to see, you're on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Instead of someone saying, I created this, how about we created this? My friend and Art and I developed this animation. Those are the conversations that we need to start having. And I think that one will take us further. But there is future. There is future. There is some glimmer of hope. 5 years from now, we will be in a better place. We will be in a better place than what we have right now. Thanks to how the technology is actually advancing very fast. Yeah. There is access to technology. There is access to lessons, tutorials. Schools are opening up. In fact, many schools are now not hiring professors. They're actually hiring industry players to actually train people. So I feel like the industry will be in a better place.
Yeah, most people I've brought on this platform, they mentioned collaboration. They said that collaboration takes us further than working by yourself.
It does.
Yeah, witnessed that as well. Before we close up, I think it's been an hour so far.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you can advise yourself 10 years ago. What will you tell yourself?
10 years ago? I wish I would have discovered my why 10 years ago.
Your what? Oh, your why.
That's the...
Because you feel like you've just been functioning without knowing exactly why you're doing things.
Yeah, actually, I came to realize my why, my strongest why, the one that I've told you about, called adding. But someone can still take that and run with it. How you contribute towards making a world a better place. That's for you to figure out.
Okay.
I came to realize this why of mine like 7 years ago. And I've been practicing for like 16, 17 years. So you can imagine those were 7 or 9 years of my life just gone as a creative. What I'll write to my own self last 10 years from now, before I'll say, hey, you needed to know your why then.
Okay. Interesting. So know your why. Before you start anything, know exactly why you're doing it. And that has been an interesting conversation, Ernest.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I really appreciate the platform. It's my first time, and I hope we can have more discussions.
We will.
That would be great. I look forward to it.
Do you have anything else you want to add, or you're good?
What I'd like to add is that keep pushing, right? Don't stay stagnant in one sport. Just grow out of wherever you are doing and learn to become different. Learn just to become different. One important thing that I'll say is, as much as you're watching tutorials, also read books. Start with why is a very good place to begin with. And then there is another one. If you want to be a leader, I like Simon Sinek books so much. There is one called The Infinite Game. Don't play a finite game, a game that has an end. Instead, play a infinite game, one that never ends. And last but not least, another book written by Simon Sinek. It's called Leaders Eat Last. That's where I'll close my topic. Those 3 books, I've read them and they've changed my life as a leader, becoming a leader, and even becoming outspoken. So you too can also get a grasp of it and learn something. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm sure people are going to learn so much from you.
Great.
Yeah, because when I shared the poster, people were like, that was my lecturer.
Oh, yeah. I've taught so many people. I meet people in the streets and they're like, hey, Ernest, it's me, you taught me. Some even have forgotten their faces. And it's great to hear that people actually remember me. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that I've contributed towards making the world a better place through my teachings. Yeah.
How does it make you feel?
It makes me sleep easy. Honestly, it makes me feel sleep easy. And when I wake up every day, I know there is something that I need to do to just add from what I have done the day before. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So any socials you want to share, maybe for Chomoka or your personal accounts?
I think I will leave them down here so that you can have a look, check me out.
Yeah.
Though one thing to mention is that I'm not so active.
Maybe you can share for Chomoka then.
Yeah. For Chomoka Studios is just search Chomoka Studios. You'll find us on Instagram. We're on Instagram. We're also on LinkedIn. We are not so much on TikTok. But on YouTube also you'll find us. And then if you go online and just type Chomoka Studios, you'll find us on Google, as well as which other platform are we in? I forgot. Those 3. Yeah. So we are on Instagram, Chomoka Studios, LinkedIn, Chomoka Studios, and YouTube, Chomoka Studios. Yeah, but most of our videos, they find their home on Vimeo. So most of our videos are on Vimeo. Just also look for us at Chomoka Studios. Okay. Yeah. For my personal socials, Ernest Livasia. You'll find me on Instagram and Twitter. Not Twitter. Instagram and LinkedIn. Yeah.
Amazing. That has been an awesome session. I've learned so much. I'm sure the people who are going to watch are also going to learn a lot.
Thank you so much.
So if you want to be represented as an animator or as an artist within the creative industry, join the Association of Animation Artists of Kenya. Kenya. Yeah, A3K. Yes. There are a couple of other creatives within the group, so you're going to maybe collaborate with others, find people to collaborate with, learn also a lot from the rest, because people share their projects, their work in progress. Yeah, so it's an amazing group. If you wish to maybe connect with other creatives, that's the place for you to be. Yeah, that has been the 3rd episode, the 2nd season of the Creative Collab.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bridget, for bringing me on board. I really appreciate being here. For A3K is, you just search Google, you'll find our website and it will lead you to the WhatsApp group. Okay. That's what I needed to add. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that has been amazing. Thank you for watching. Good morning, good night, and good evening from wherever you're watching. Bye.
Great. I appreciate it. Asante.